Hello and welcome to DDOCast episode 399, recorded live on Sunday, September 27th. I'm your host, Patrick. We have some very special and fun guests this week. We have two-thirds of the Damsels of DDO. We have Sahba Jade.
Hello.
And we have Mythery.
Hi, Patrick.
Welcome back, ladies. Great to have you.
She has that on a
Thank you.
recording because it sounds the same every time she says hi, Patrick.
All like three of them?
I practice it in the mirror.
I think so.
This week's screenshot, Renestre looks over the Cerulean Hills in the 240th screenshot of the week. A nice, lovely shot of the moon setting, or rising, one of the two. A fantastic example of the beautiful artwork of DDO. We like to talk about Dungeons & Dragons online nearly every weekend. You can watch us through Twitch, YouTube, the DDO forums, from our website at DDOcast.com. DDOcast is usually hosted by Cyber Ears, the awesome podcast hosting network. Shows are usually available within a few days of recording. Next show will be a recorded show. It's a very special event. It's 400th episode.
Woohoo!
Yeah, at least the 400th official episode.
How many have you done?
It will be my 100th. I started at 301,
nice. Oh, wow.
so...
Congrats.
Yeah.
Sig and Ann, for the 300th episode, did a live at Gen Con, and then that was kind of their finale, and then I took over the next week or the week after that or something like that. And I've been doing it ever since. That was about just over 2 years ago, so...
Oh, so you missed a couple.
I missed a couple, but not too many.
Yeah, you've been busy.
I'm only a month off.
Right.
So, yeah, about 7 or 8 shows, somewhere in there. So not terrible. In any case, on the podcast this week, we're going to talk about Update 28, which just came live. We're going to talk about the other game news, some new stuff in the store, and I have a suspicion that someone here may particularly like one of the new items. And then our main topic is going to be about goggles. So we've kind of been doing a new series about different weapon or different item slots. We've talked about helms and necklaces, and this week we're going to talk about goggles. And we're going to kind of follow a very similar format, but if you've listened to those shows, we're going to start with some of our favorite goggles. And we'll kind of run the gamut of all levels and where there are some that we notably like. And ladies, I'm going to let you ladies start off. What are some goggles that you really like to have on your characters?
Myth?
Well, I like to have the flesh render guards, I guess, for the really low level ones, and you get the death word cookie. So pretty much everybody gets a set of those.
And where do you find those?
What?
Where do you find those?
They're in, I know, Tangleroot. The end reward from Tangleroot. They drop pretty much all the time. They have a good chance to get them out of there.
It's not guaranteed, but it is a fairly decent chance.
Right.
Yeah, and they're level 5, so pretty good.
Yeah, and you could carry more than one pair if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I have a character who has 3.
I think my favorite ones really are my green steel ones because I made them and I got to put what I wanted on.
And what did you put in them?
They're my spell point items mostly, so they add to my awesome amount of spell points.
Which is good because you use mana faster than any other caster.
That's right. Absolutely.
That's you. They're your
me.
concordant ops too, right?
No, actually, my goggles aren't my concordant ops. It's my other green steel item.
Yeah, my caster has them as goggles for concordant ops with hit points, not spell points.
So that's my favorite. 2 favorites, I guess. That was the question, right?
Yes, that was the question. Well done. Well answered.
Yay! Thank you.
So far, you have 100% on the test.
Yay, me!
Sahba, what are some of your favorite goggles?
Well, since I play mostly rogue, I have a gamut of rogue items going up levels. Like the time sensing level 5, they have spot 5 and search 5 on the goggles. And then the Dream Visor, Kandaric Delving Goggles at level 9 have spot 10 and disable device 10, so that's pretty good. Plus a blindness immunity, which my characters seem to have a problem with that at times. And then the Tharn's Goggles at level 13, they have sneak attack bonus and search 15 and spot 15, which is nice, plus true seeing on them. At 14, the Dream Visor has spot 15, plus ghost touch.
I'm sensing here that you favor goggles for your search and spot items.
I do. I even craft them when I'm going to TR. I get my crafted at craft. So you can even get higher numbers at lower levels than these.
Right.
But if I don't have time to do that, I know I have all of these available. Like Tinker's Goggles, I have them. They're level 18. They give Intel plus 6, Treason, Disable Device 10, which is not so big, but it's Enhanced Disable Device plus 5. So that'll add 5 to all my Disable Device. Let me see. When I get up into higher levels, I like the Cannoneer Goggles because they have a green slot. They give me spell points, 10% magical efficiency.
Can you share those with your characters, or are they bound?
I believe that is bound to account. It's out of Three Barrel Cove, and that's the standard in those for those items.
Because it seems like it's generally kind of hard to get good rogue items for some reason. And they were going to talk about a lot of rogue goggles, I think.
Right. Well, and then my last favorite one are the Epic Glimpse of the Soul. Now they have some good stuff on it. They're level 27. They come out of the Orchard, and they're bound to account. They have True Seeing, Diplo 20, Bluff 20, Illusion and Enchantment save 6, Wiz 11, which is nice, and they have 2 augment slots. But my favorite thing on them is the Intercession Ward, so when you fight those quells, you can't get that weird effect that they give you. Quelled, yes. So those are a few of my favorites, but as you can see, they're mostly rogue things. Search spot.
Well, I think the Glimpse of the Soul is not so much.
No.
Although it's not to say that it wouldn't be handy on a rogue, since it does have 2 slots that you can upgrade 2 slots on it, so you could throw in some augments with that search spot. But I generally find personally that kind of through heroic levels, the goggle slot is really where I'm going to have my search spot disable.
Right, and then when I get to Epic, I put it on a trinket or
it's just generally kind of where it ends up, because there's some really nice trinkets, which we're not really talking about right now, but there's some great trinkets that really favor that as well. And you can always swing in a search and disable item. You don't need those on your main gear. Spot is handy, particularly in a lot of traps. You know where they're going to be. They don't move around quest to quest, but in some quests it's not always the case, and for new quests it's helpful to have spot somewhere. But so the Glimpse of the Soul for a rogue would be really handy, since will saves is one of their weaker saves. They traditionally don't have very good wisdom. And you're talking about 6 plus 6 to saves for illusion and enchantment, plus another 11 to wisdom, which is 5 or 6 to your wisdom save, depending on where you're at. So that's pretty handy. And bluff. It's pretty nice. Really quick, I want to kind of catch up on some of this stuff, because I don't think you mentioned where some of those come from. The time sensing goggles, which also have 3 clickies of haste, if I remember correctly.
The Epic version, yeah.
I think the heroic version does too.
It has 3 clickies, and the Epic has 5.
Right. And then an Epic clicky lasts longer too, as I recall. But those come out of the Chronoscope, which is a really easy raid to run. It's a very low level raid on heroic. And I'm pretty sure even on Epic, the end reward is pretty much just a list of the items that you can get out of it for the most part. The heroic versions, not the Epic versions. But that's a great one you can pull out. The Tharn's Goggles you mentioned are out of Vision of Destruction. And they're kind of an interesting case, because their level is 13, but the raid is level 18.
Yeah.
And for a long time, actually, this was like the goggles for melee. So like everybody was trying to get them and run them just because for the extra sneak attack bonus. Those extra
Right.
8 damage for sneak attacks.
And then if you got the set, or at least 2 parts of the set, 20% less threat generated. That's great for a rogue.
Yeah,
Plus
and
ghost touch.
the other part of the set is it's traditionally the bracers, also out of Vision of Destruction, but you can get there's a third piece on Dragon Touched armor, which is more difficult to acquire.
One of my rogues has that. I was lucky.
Yeah, I got a pretty distinct luckiness out of that in that my cleric, when that pack was endgame, but also the sovereign runes were invisible. You didn't know what any of the runes actually were.
Right.
And I got the third part of the cleric set on my third try or something like
Nice.
that, which was pretty
Wow.
slick. Yeah, I was pretty amazed by that. See, the result. You also mentioned the Kundarek goggles, which come out of Vision of Destruction, or not, Vision Vault of Night. There we go. VON VOD. Yeah. So Vault of Night, which is the Dragon Raid in House K. Let's see. You mentioned the Glimpse of the Soul, which is out of the Epic version, which is out of Orchard, specifically Inferno of the Damned. And what else did you mention?
I mentioned the Dream Visor. Isn't that on Pop?
Correct. And it's the end chest, which is notable, as opposed to one of the side room chests. You kind of have to get the chest in the right spot,
Right.
not just actually there. So
A chest, right?
that chest is always in that quest. You have a good chance of getting that. And the epic version of that actually was another item that was pretty popular for a while before Deadly became so prevalent. And I'm still kicking myself for that. I got the Epic Elite version, and someone offered me 2 autos boxes for it.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and at the time that was probably overpaying, but you could pretty much guarantee to get at least 1 autos box, and I turned it down. And I'm really kicking myself for that now.
Oh, I also mentioned the Tinker's goggles, and those come out of House Kenneth Manufactory.
Do you remember which quest?
It's not a quest, it's a rare encounter.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
Oh yeah, I have some of those.
But they do come out of what? Schemes of the Enemy? As well.
it sounds right. Let's see, and then the Cannoneer goggles, which you mentioned, which are out of Three Barrel Cove. They're out of the Epic version. The Epic chain, the Capstone quest, Precious Cargo, but they can also drop in the in reward list for the chain, which is
Right.
a handy way to get that. That's actually how I got the one pair that I have.
That's probably how I got mine.
So I'll go over some of my favorites, and a lot of the ones we mentioned are kind of my favorites. The Cannoneer goggles are great. Wizardry 9, Impulse 114, the Magical Efficiency, which gives you 10% reduction on your spell point cost, which is fantastic.
Yeah, Myth needs that.
I love that.
It's one of the few places you can get that. I can only think of 2 others. One being the Green Dragon armor, and one being the gloves, the Fanged gloves, which I believe are somewhere in the Orchard.
You can, if you wear the set from Evening Star.
That's true.
Yeah.
Either the Wizard or the Cleric set out of Evening Star will give you a set bonus that does the same thing. The Epic Glimpse of the Soul, I think, is a great one to mention, mostly because of Intercession Ward. It's not really an item that I think is necessarily a great set of goggles, but I think the Intercession Ward is very noteworthy, given that, as far as I know, there's only one other item that has it, and that's a weapon, which is out of a great sword out of Temple of Vol and Heroic. And if you're going to run a lot of Mark of Death, you may find that Intercession Ward is very handy. There are many quells in that quest. And then, let's see, Thorn Goggles, I think is a fantastic set of goggles, particularly for Heroic, since you can use them for so many levels. Spot, and not having to switch between Spot and Search is great. The True Seeing, though, and the extra damage is fantastic. Some ones that we didn't mention that I have a particularly fondness for, the Drow Smoke Goggles, which are a level 20 item. They give you blindness immunity Manslayer, which it basically gives you Vorpal against humans on all your weapons. And then they also come with Seeker +6. And you can get those out of Battle for Evening Star, I believe, or the end reward for the first chain of Menace of the Underdark, the Evening Star chain.
I have several pairs of those, but with my rogues, the problem is spot -5. So,
Mm.
It is something to be aware of, that is for sure. But they're definitely candy for pretty much anyone else. Although I personally tend not to. I mean, it's one of those weird items for me. Like I like the item, unless I'm a rogue, obviously. But my characters tend to have the Stalker Ring out of House Cannith challenges,
right.
which has Manslayer and Seeker and some other things on them. So, an alternative. The nice thing is they are level 20. An alternative to that is the Lens of the Woodsman, which is also an Evening Star. You get it from the Druid Commendation turn-ins. It only takes 5. And it's got True Seeing, attack bonus +3, Seeker +6. Not necessarily a flashy set of goggles, but I kind of tend to find that goggles tend to be a little lacking in terms of the big name kind of items that you might find in other slots.
Right.
It's kind of one of the places that I typically have kind of a filler item or kind of some swapping item type stuff, depending on what level I'm at. But there's also, this is just a really nice, it's cheap, it's easy to get. True Seeing is fantastic on a melee, some extra Seeker, a little extra to hit, even though I hardly ever need it. But just as you're making that, particularly if you're a new player, making that transition with your character from Heroic into Epic, it's a great item. The combination, you only need 5 of the combinations. They're pretty easy to get. There you go. Are there any other goggles that you guys kind of have a favor towards?
I like, there's one called the Epic Four Eyes, and I think those are nice. And they're, I guess, kind of nice for a cleric-y sort of person, or anybody that, if you use wisdom before your will saves, that'd be nice, because they have Insightful Wisdom 3 on them. But they also have Spell Pen 5 and 17 Concentration, True Seeing, and a Green Augment slot. So I think they're nice.
What level are those?
Oh, they're level 26. They come out of the Terminal Delirium in the 12.
It's a good choice. See, I'm kind of scanning through the list really quick.
I'm trying to think what we didn't talk about.
Well, I was just thinking for new characters that have no cure, getting the set bonuses from anything out of Korthos starts you off right. You know, like a +3 to search and spot for the troubleshooter's goggles.
There's also, I believe, a set of goggles that's just +1 to attack, which at lower levels it can be more meaningful, particularly if you're perhaps, particularly if you're not a melee character. If you are a caster who is like Mythery and spends all of the spell points very quickly, you may find yourself needing to swing something, and that extra +1 can be very helpful in that regards.
Yep.
And there are several that give you plus to the spell points.
Oh, there's a pair called the Sage's Spectacles that are kind of nice too. They have Intel +9, Fire Lore 8, Combustion 132, Colorless Slot, and no, I'm sorry, that's the wrong ones. Intel 8, Combustion 84, and they're level 15. Which
you mentioned the higher level one, the epic level.
Yeah, I meant to mention the lower level one because Intel 8 or level 15 is pretty nice.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic way to go. And there's actually another set of goggles in Wayloon that are Wisdom 7 at level 16, and also have Ethereal and to hit bonuses. So that's not a poor choice either.
And now that they have where even like a sorcerer's sneak can benefit from having intel with their spells. it's good to have a high intel item. So I used to never wear an item. I didn't care.
Oh, but now you need to for
Yeah.
spell.
It's a little bonus for your spell damage. I do want to give a shout out to the Trap Blast goggles, which have no minimum level. You can get them out of STK, and it's plus 40 or reflex save. Again, as low level characters, perhaps maybe you're not running with a rogue, and you are maybe a squishy caster. Having some extra reflex save to get through some of those traps can be really helpful. And I think I just kind of want to give a quick shout out to the Undersun goggles. Even though they're not really actually that useful, they do have kind of a neat graphical effect to them.
And if you're going to the Underdark for the first time, they are very helpful.
Yeah, you can actually see with them.
Yeah, they kind of highlight where the monsters are in darkness. I never really use them, but they're really easy to get. If you go in to the Underdark portal in the Evening Star Cavern, there's a trader pretty close to the entrance, and he'll just give you a pair. So they're kind of fun. Those nice little graphical things. I'm actually a little surprised, and here's a little hint if you're looking to do this, that I don't recall ever actually seeing maybe one or two, screenshots of the week that are actually taken using those goggles, which can give a nice little kind of graphic effect on them. So maybe a little hint there.
Being in a black and white comic book or something.
Yeah, could be an interesting choice for a screenshot of the week. So let's talk about some goggles that are kind of more best in slot. Like these are the ones that you really probably are going to want to go for.
I like the Epic Mental out of the Orchard. They're level 27. They give you Seeker 10, Exceptional Seeker 2, Ghostly UMD 5, Dex 11, and 2 augment slots.
That's a great one. I think that, again, UMD plus 5 is pretty rare.
Yeah.
So if you're really looking to kind of boost your UMD there, it could be a really nice choice. I think there might be like a UMD 7 in the game in a couple places, but UMD 5 is pretty substantial for any level, so it's a really great one. And yeah, a lot of secret bonuses. I like secret bonuses. I have a couple characters that are wearing these. I think it's fair to say at this point that there's not a lot of really awesome named options in goggles. It's just not a spot that we really, really have a lot of, wow, everyone's got to get these items.
Right.
And I think the Mental goggles is one of those items that for anyone who's doing martial damage is a great option. I think there's also worth mentioning the Visions of Precision, which come out of the File of the Just. So it's kind of the new raid. And actually, a lot of the items we've mentioned do come out of the raids, but it is a great one. Particularly, it's got Wisdom 12, Insightful Wisdom plus 4, so you get a plus 16 Wisdom item right there. It has a chance to have Mythic bonuses on it, but it also has Enhanced Key plus 3, so monks.
That's nice.
Take note here. That means every time you hit something, you get an extra 3 key generated, which is a lot. There's a couple places where you can get Enhanced Key plus 1, and I always found with my monks that that's a pretty substantial boost. You can really start going to town, even with that plus 1. So,
If you can get a plus 3, you can save some action points in one of your trees by not taking that enhancement, because you won't need it if you have a plus 3.
right. It also has Dazing 10 on it, so it helps your stunning, which is, this is a great item. I know one of the guys in my guild is kind of more of a cleric guy. He loves the goggles because he's working on his wisdom, but there's a great monk item too, so pretty hard to beat those in terms of monk. Mythery, do you have is there kind of a best in the slot that you find as green steel or for your
I
goggle
think it's
slots?
green still. I'm on green still side. If you're gonna TR, you're gonna want to have some, and depending on what you choose to put on them, they're good for well past level 11. So I think you should have some green still.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of my caster types tend to still have green steel in their goggle slots. Sometimes even my melee are still using green steel up until like my fighter had green steel goggles, hit point goggles up until he got to the Mental's goggles. It's just some extra hit points, and there wasn't really a lot of choices that he had that were more meaningful than having 45 hit points on him. So,
Right.
Do you
There
have?
was a time when every one of my characters wore blindness ward goggles because there wasn't much to choose. There was Intel and blindness ward, and yeah, that was about it. Maybe some spot goggles out there. So.
While we're on the subject, do you have some favorite combinations for green steel goggles?
Me, well, I either put my hit points items, hit points on there, or my spell points on there, depending on how I'm putting my gear together. It's just the way it usually works out for me. And one or the other is my cloak or my goggles.
Sahba, do you have any favorites?
For green steel, the only one that has green steel goggles is my wizard, and she's got the concordant hops.
Yeah, Concordant Ab is a great choice. It gives you spell points and hit points, I believe. Rarely when you get hit, but it can be a nice little boost to spread stuff out.
That goes off pretty often, actually. I mean, I wear concordant too.
It doesn't go off as much as a Torque does, but it's definitely noticeable that you do get spell points back and hit points back, particularly if you are more of a tanking, casting kind of character, then you're really going to see some return on investments with a Concordant Op or a Torque. You can Voodoo has a recent video where he's showing how to tank the boneheads in Temple of Deathworm, and because he's using a lot of spells, he's having a Concordant Op and a Torque on. He's got things on him. He's tanking them, but they're still hitting him. He's getting some nice return of spell points. You can really extend your life for that. And if you look back at a lot of people that have soloed some raids at level over the years, this was one of those items that really kind of made that possible without going through a ton of spell point potions. Not that they didn't use a lot of spell point potions anyways, but this kind of helped bridge the gap a little bit. I would say for me, if it's a caster, kind of where I like to be these days, I don't do 3 tiers of spell points because the first tier doesn't stack with a lot of more common spell point, like the Wizardry, Archmagi, those kind of bonuses, and you can get better than Wizardry 6 pretty easily, which is what you get with Green Steel. So usually I'll do hit points, spell points, spell points. I like to... Concordant Op is a great one to choose. If I already have a Concordant Op somewhere else, I know my cleric had a Concordant Op hat, so what I did was I made an Earthgrab guard set of goggles, which I find to be pretty handy even as a caster, because if they hit me and then they get grabbed, I'm free and clear, at least for a few seconds anyways. So that can be a really great choice. And I think it's worth noting as well that the way that they have skill bonuses whenever you do hit points and spell points based on what element you're doing, those do not stack anymore. It used to be that you get 1 at tier 1, 2 at tier 2, and 3 at tier 6, and they would all stack. They don't do that anymore, but they doubled the bonuses to 2, 4, 6. So you can get a little extra bang for your buck in that regards. I think with that, what are some things that you like to look for random loot for goggles? If you don't have one of these items, what should people be looking for?
Well, I didn't think of not having one of those items because I'm going to have them. I like deadly and some kind of spell points on the goggle. especially in epics when I'm not using my search spot on goggles. Having deadly and wizardry on the goggles is great so that I can cast my cocoon on myself. That's probably my favorite.
I'll second that. I had a lot of that going around for a while on some of my characters. Spell point. It's hard to beat the deadly spell points combination for a non-casting character. You look at extra damage, more spell points to use epic destiny abilities. Win-win. Myth, is anything that you like to find?
Not really.
Fair enough. What about cosmetically? Are there any kind of cosmetics you like to use?
Well, I know Myth and I are the same on this one. We
Yeah.
disable the look of them so we don't have. You can't see our goggles. So
Ever.
no, we don't do cosmetics.
Only cosmetic, my outfit. And the goggles just don't go with it. Sorry.
I think that the hats are generally kind of a more popular choice, shall we say, for cosmetics in that regard. I did throw Mountaineer's goggles on somebody for a little while. I think I think it was my artist friend. I think he may actually still have them cosmetically on. Those are about the only ones I ever really kind of stuck out to me.
The only ones I ever noticed are those ones that make people's eyes look red, or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that is.
Oh well, there's the eyes, the cosmetic eyes, which are a little different, but are kind of in the same vein, which are fun if you have. I think thematically, when you've got a warlock or a pale master,
Right.
the glowing eyes really work well with those.
Creepy.
Uh,
Scary.
Anything else you ladies would like to say about goggles before we move on?
Well, goggles are, like you've been saying, there's nothing really fantastic about goggles that everybody goes, I need that pair of goggles.
I think the closest thing
That's-
ever was the Tharns goggles to that.
Right. And those are still great if you're doing a first life or you're TRing, heroic TRing.
Let's see, Kuijon in the chat gave a shout out to the Drow Small goggles as well, and then Skunk City said he looks for items that have spell power that complements lures that he might have already as well, which is a great, if you can find some stuff, it's a great choice as well. I think with that, we'll get into the game news. There's a fair bit of it this week. First thing, just to get out of the way, phone hours are changing, starting already. Basically what's happening is on Fridays, the phone hours are changing from 2 to 6 Eastern Time to 12 to 4 Eastern Time. They're not actually reducing the hours, they're just shifting the hours to start earlier on Fridays.
So they can get to their weekend earlier, right?
Potentially, yes. I guess I misread the chat. Kuijon mentions it's green steel smoke goggles is what he was referring to, which I think gives you a displacement clicky and some blur potentially. I'm not quite positive. I've never actually made smoke goggles myself. I have a lot of characters, so I had to kind of pick and choose what I would make, and pretty much everyone only got one or two maybe items. In any case, going back to game news, Update 28 hit live. What do you think, ladies, so far? Thumbs up, thumbs down for
I
Update
like
28?
it.
Thumbs up.
I thought the quests were. I like the quests. They were all different. I like puzzles, so that's why I like the quests. Some were shorter than others. The first time I did, I think it was, what is it, Subversion?
I've only run them once, so I'm still... The name is not yet really associated very well with the quest for me.
It's the one where you have the Titans in it.
Right. Lots of puzzles in there.
Yeah, lots of puzzles. And we took our time and actually, even after the quest was over, we found all the optionals. And the optionals were worth a fair amount of XP. But yeah, I like them.
Good.
And I think we're gonna run them with the damsels on Tuesday night.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I'd say that the quests had a nice variety. I did enjoy playing them. They weren't overly difficult, even on Epic Elite. Although I will say that my bard, who is currently a wizard, had a bit of a rough go of it, particularly when the red Abishai throwing fireballs everywhere tended to be a bit of a problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
They were smoking me pretty good to the face with some fireballs. But otherwise, I was hanging in there and doing a fairly decent job. But yeah, I like the quests. I like that they have a very wide variety, not just in like what the quest objectives are and kind of the feel of the different quests, but they're in different areas too.
Right. Yeah. And they took advantage of space, like over in the 12. They're where you would think, oh, another quest could go there. And the same thing in House C. I like it. And I like going to the portable hole. That was kind of cool. Although that was the shortest quest.
Yeah, there's not really a lot you can do with the portable hole in terms of a quest. It's not a very big area. But what they did with it, I thought, was a fairly good route if you wanted to incorporate that in there. I will say that I did notice that a lot of the quests had kind of narrow hallways with short ceilings. So it's a little less room to maneuver, but
my halfling didn't notice, sorry.
I was playing it on a caster who was actively trying to avoid getting hit in any way, shape, or form, so it was a little bit more noticeable for me. I was trying to dance around a lot. There wasn't really a lot of room to dance around in.
Right.
But it worked out pretty well. As far as the release notes, there wasn't really anything that we hadn't covered before, but there was a little bit of a note from one of the devs regarding level 30 plus quests. They have no specific plans to go back through all previous content and adjust difficulty, but something they would consider if they thought it was important enough. The model they're using for balance is something they're looking more towards use in the future for new 30 plus quests. There are some additional benefits for changing all previous quests, but that upfront work is really massive. This was something they felt they could do for existing 30 plus quests since there weren't that many to address, and it helps set up proper balancing for the future high-end content, which they're clearly going to have several of. So, I mean, we've got Epic Shroud coming up, Epic kind of Zoriat, and Epic Tempest Spine. Those will probably be at least level 30 quests. So balance is important, particularly talking about raids. People like to have balanced raids. We're also linked to the Update 28 loot. You ladies have any quick thoughts on the loot?
Some things look nice, but I haven't really gotten anything, so until I collect them. I'm not very good at being lucky and getting named items, so it's going to be a while before I get any of these to see whether I really like them or not.
Mythery, did you find anything that you liked?
I haven't actually gotten anything either. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I would say there's some fun stuff in there. I don't know that there's... I think it's kind of one of those good jobs of them doing kind of a sidestep with the loot. They're not putting out stuff that's better than we already have, but it's kind of...
Well, from reading the descriptions of the items, I was wondering whether these are for people who can't get the raid items. So they have a little bit more power, but not as powerful as the raid items. Because I'm not lucky at getting raid items either. Because that one that you mentioned, the goggles, I haven't seen it. I haven't done 20 on anybody that would take that yet, so I haven't seen it.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said about... Sometimes not even just about the raids either. It's, think about the content that's kind of around the same level, and it's kind of sort of overlapping with like the Orchard, which is a little bit more older content now. I mean, I think the Orchard's been around for at least a year. So there's kind of that nice little sidestep. It's got different options, a lot of different gear. There is new stuff in it in the sense that there's a lot of set quality bonuses to stats kind of stuff going on. I don't know that... I was
going to say that. I like set items if it fits my gear. I don't know if I could get 6 items.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of
on any one character.
I follow. The set stuff is nice. It's a great option. I'm not sure that I will take advantage of it because I think I would end up losing ground
Right.
But someone who's maybe newer to those levels, doesn't have as much gear as I do, can make some great use of them. And they're some nice items. They have stuff that we haven't necessarily seen before, but isn't outdating other gear. Is really what it comes down to for me.
So they might be a placeholder until they get the nice epic raid gear.
It's a good way of looking at it.
Are you saying 6 items in a set?
Well, you can get 2 items in a set or 6 items in a set. And
6
it
or
adds
5?
It's 6.
Okay.
And it adds quality bonus. The name of it's a quality bonus myth to stats. So if you have 2 items in a set, you'll get +2 quality bonus to a certain stat like strength or constitution. But if you have 6, it'll add 3 quality bonus to that stat.
To all stats.
To all stats, yeah. Which sounds nice.
Yeah, it does.
But I can't really see wearing 6 items.
Is kind of the challenge. I did do that for a very short amount of time with the Chronoscope set, Epic set, but that was a time frame where there wasn't as much going on for gear in Epic levels, so it was a little bit easier to manage. Now they're all fairly outdated. But.
Now, one item that
even with that, there was always something I couldn't give up, and I never wore all that.
One thing I might consider is that quiver that gives you 8% double shot. I think that sounds pretty good. +4 range power too.
Yeah, that's probably the item that I am most interested in getting, but that's because it works for range characters, and I have several of them, or at least characters that use ranged. I think I have like 3 or 4 characters that it went into their want list.
It's too bad that doesn't count as part of a set bonus, huh? Because that would be an easy one.
Yeah, not a lot of quivers going there, but also the chance of getting a mythic on that quiver is pretty handy because slotting mythic into a quiver is pretty tricky. So that's an option. Moving right along into some of the ranger stuff, some things that did change for Deepwood Sniper, the level 12 core now has +1 sneak attack die, +10 positive spell power, and you get a +1 competence bonus to critical threat range with all weapons. It does not apply to shields or unarmed. That change does remove the +10 melee and range power that was on Lomania. The melee power and range power from improved Archer's Focus was reduced from 10 to 5. And just so everyone is aware, it was verified to be fixed internally, but missed the cutoff for Update 28. The improved weapon finesse does not apply to thrown weapons on live until the next patch or hotfix or update. It will be placed in the known issues at that point. For Tempest Ranger, some stuff that was kind of a quick changes. They removed melee power from Graceful Death. Deflect arrows now adds +1 confidence bonus to critical damage multiplier while dual wielding for both weapons. It removed 10% stacking chance to make an offhand attacks when dual wielding. Whirlwind added 10% chance to make offhand attacks when dual wielding and removed 5 melee power. And then 1,000 Cuts. There was a new multiple choice option to that so that you can have 2, 3, or 4% melee power and 2, 3, 4% double strike instead of it having a clicky. The clicky was also reduced such that Tier 3 became deal +5 weapon damage, and you gain +30% melee double strike and melee power for 15 seconds. I believe it has a 90-second cooldown timer. They intentionally wanted the clicky active version to be stronger than the passive version. There were some concerns that it might not be big enough, but what they wanted more was the idea that if you are actively using it and growing some skill to use it, you get more benefit out of it than just taking the passive option. There was, I think it was Vargwil or Steelstar mentioned that they would like to, there's a question about having some feedback of when you get a double strike hit. It's something that they would like to do. However, updating UI feedback is often more difficult than you might expect. But yes, they've long wanted to get something in DDO to reflect when double strikes are happening. And that did come from Vargwil. I always kind of looked at the numbers that were floating.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Generally, they come a little closer together when it's a double strike. It's particularly easy if you use like an active attack that has some kind of a save with it, so a stun or extra type of damage, stuff like that. You can actually see it in the line of numbers as they go through. Some other stuff that was mentioned, base MRR should work regardless of save type. The shield bonus to MRR cares about reflex saves only. There's a question asked if monsters can have feats and other sources of things like spell power and melee power. And it was, yes, they can have that. Basically, most statistics that players have that can improve them, monsters can get those too. Reaper difficulty. It is true that as they work to bring Reaper into the game, they are not designing it with the intention of it being made for soloing. It's certainly likely and not inherently bad if some of the top tier and geared players find ways to excel and succeed on their own in that difficulty, but it's absolutely not something they're designing it around. Braguil also mentioned that when or if they get something like Reaper mode, they would endeavor for it to destroy all builds equally.
Did he actually say when, if?
Yeah, he did. That was a direct quote. I just liked the comment. It shows a little bit of humor and funness.
Sure.
Balancing to destroy all builds equally. It's kind of fun. Barbarians, they are regarding. They are looking at making the critical damage multiplier to competence bonuses. So the critical range, that stuff. They want to change it to competence so that it doesn't stack with other competence bonuses. They wanted to let players know sooner than later, so there you go. We had a little bit of a sneak peek here. The replacement for Maybar Festival, which would be the Night Revels. There are apparently already some mysterious portals being discovered in Delaris graveyards with challenge-like UI entrances. That also says that you don't know in the back. Steelstar jumped in with the spoilers disclaimer. You will not need to own or buy a content pack to play the Night of Revels. Don't read too closely into anything we see on live, such as challenges durations, which is 35 minutes, or how you think challenges play. The event is not in a finished state on the current live build. They'll have more info about the event soon. Are you looking forward to that, ladies?
I like events, so I hope I like this one. My favorite is the one we just had that I can't think of the name.
Crystal Cove?
Crystal Cove, yeah. And I really didn't like Mabar. I thought it was kind of slow and boring. So hopefully this will be better.
I agree with that. I always get really excited and look forward to the events, and I guess I just hope I'm not disappointed.
Fair enough. I like the anniversary card event a lot. I liked the trading and social aspect that was going on. Obviously, it was exploited to the point where it was completely broken, and which was a real shame because I really liked the actual event.
Too. Yeah.
And I also liked the Mimic Festival, which, if for no other reason, made permadeath playing with Lessa a blast.
That was hilarious. Yeah, I have to agree.
So that was great. We were running, I think we were like level 4 or 5 at the time, and suddenly looting was a scary proposition, which was, I think, a lot of fun. But I think what I liked most about both of those is I didn't really have to go out of my way to participate in the festival. There were ways that you could, but I didn't need to.
Right, you were going to open up the chest anyway, right?
Yeah. So I had a lot of fun with those, and I
also like our winter festivals.
The winter festivals are a little too twitchy.
They're just relaxing things to do if you have 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Go take a skate or do a ski jump.
Depends on how good you are with the twitch and moving things. So
do a monk.
I did. And it wasn't too bad, but I don't know, it was just a little too repetitive. And didn't really. The thing I really liked about the Mimic Festival and the anniversary card is, like, you get cards, and then there was that social aspect of being able to trade them and kind of move them around. And that, I think, was a lot of fun. So that's kind of what I really liked about it, is having that, I've got a 1, you've got a 2, we both want the other one, trade it up. Fantastic. And even like the cross-trading across servers was a lot of fun that I was able to do with some of the DDOcast folks as well.
Oh, right. My husband did that.
So it was a lot of fun. See, bugs. In Tavern Brawl, the new quest, Divine Crusader's Consecration can cause the quest to become incompletable. Do not use that ability in the quest for now. So big PSA there. Then there's also were some new Ranger hirelings that were supposed to be available, but are not yet. Will be soon. There's also some issues going on with Kyber currently. Hopefully it'll be resolved by today, but there's some issues with characters being stuck in a saving state, not being able to log in. So,
Sorry, Kyber.
yeah, kind of a bummer. I did log in and didn't have any problems logging in a while back, but I'm not really sure. I don't know that they know what was going on with it, but they're hoping to fix the issue without doing a restart. So they're working on that. And unfortunately, Jerry, the community manager that would normally be really communicative about such things, is getting on a plane and is flying across the country right now. So don't be surprised if maybe they're not as communicative as they might sometimes be on that. Give him a break. It's Sunday and he's traveling and on vacation. So there you go. Just really quickly on the chat regarding events. Quijon said he liked the Mimic Festival, but he did understand not having an opt-in or an opt-out feature. So that was, I think, a fair point. And there's also, they're mentioning in the chat that the old Maybar stuff is now defunct, and there doesn't seem to be a trade-in option for those, which is kind of sad. But that's the way that it kind of tends to go. Bonus days for the week. Champion Hunter Weekend and Double Remnants Boost. Through today, all Remnant rewards will be available, and champions have double the chance to drop Remnants.
I was very excited about it.
Yay.
I don't collect remnants very quickly, and I still didn't get them very. I know it's double the chance, and they were more chances, but I was still only getting 3 and 4. It's going to take me forever to get 10,000.
Yeah, I had a particularly rough shot there of I think I had like 5 or 6 remnant pickups straight of less than 5.
Mm-hmm.
And
then everybody else in the party is like,
I got 70.
Yeah, exactly.
Give some of those to me.
That's what happens to us in our static group. There's one guy in it that doesn't care about getting any. He's not going to use them for anything, and he'll go, "Oh, I got 66," and
the rest of us don't get that all together.
Right.
I would like to see some more options for spending them, and I still think it'd be a great place for a Lesser Heart of Wood to be purchased in game.
I agree. And I would even save up 10,000 for that.
Yeah, I think that's a great spot for some of that, and I still feel that the current numbers for what you get and what you need are a little off, personally. But that's also coming from a perspective of someone who plays 15 characters on a fairly regular rotation. So saving some of that stuff suddenly becomes a lot more daunting if, from the standpoint of, as opposed to I want all that stuff for my one character to I want some of that stuff for all of my 15 characters. So it kind of gets a little spirals out of control. Store news. There was a lot of fun store news. So we're going to start off with some details about the new store that is coming. I'm going to we'll link to this, and I am going to kind of cruise through most of what they're kind of talking about, but I'm not going to cover everything here, so you may want to go and do a little bit of reading on your own on that. They think that the new DDO store will offer a number of great new features, improve your experience while you like to browse or purchase items regularly, or just get in and out quickly. It has a new layout and look. They're keeping the functionality we expect, while also simplifying and speeding up the experience. The store is resizable. You can change the dimensions to whatever you like. Results will be displayed on one scrollable page. No more digging through pages of items. Yay. Faster and easier browsing. You can click a category and see the subcategories or items within that category. If you want to check a different subcategory, you don't have to go back to the new parent category. See, change the quantity will be easier. There's little plus and minus signs next to the quantity, so that makes that pretty simple. Bookmarking is now easier. They have nice little stars to bookmark as favorite, very similar to Internet Explorer's kind of functionality. Short and long descriptions are no longer on a separate page. When you see an item, you can click to learn more, and the description will expand instead of loading a separate page.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. New payment methods. And when they say new payment methods, they are not kidding.
Yeah, I haven't heard of some of these.
Yeah, me either.
So, aside from credit cards and PayPal, they're bringing back some popular methods such as Sofort, Boku, PaySafeCard, and more. They're also adding new options such as the ability to use Subway gift cards. And there's even a Burger King logo and an Amazon logo on here.
So we should tell everybody to give us Subway gift cards for the holidays, right?
Yeah.
I guess.
Or Burger King.
I'm not exactly sure how that works or how long it will work. But
So you're going
that's...
hamburger, monopods. Hamburger, monopods.
Well, that could lead to some really bad life choices that might have to be made there. But, if you want to maybe hide and be more subtle about your gaming experience with your family.
Sneaky, geez. I hadn't even thought of that.
You could ask for Subway gift cards instead of game points, I guess.
Are
my
you
God,
afraid
that's
about
awesome.
your family knowing about your gaming addiction there, Patrick?
They know about it. Actually, both of my sisters, I have a sister who is now 19. When she was younger, she would actually watch me play, and now I have a younger sister who is 8 and a half, and she has watched me play a few times as well when they've been around while we're playing. So my
Do they
family's
wanna
aware.
play, or is she like interested, like she wants to play, or?
I'm not really sure. It's one of those things that the little one has only done it like maybe once or twice. I don't live with my sisters.
Oh.
I've been out of the house for
Even though he looks like
10
he's
years.
12, remember he's not.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Darn.
He has a job.
I have a job. I have a life. I have an apartment. My family doesn't live with me. But in any case, back to store news. Let's see. There's a new specials section. They'll highlight promotions, turbine point sales, new items, and more. You can spend less. They want you to spend less time in the store. You can choose off the confirmation screen. So there's a little checkbox where you can disable confirmation screen for future item purchases. Which is that? Wizened Man has a nice little comment in the chat. What a world where you'd rather have people think you're addicted to Big Macs rather than a game. Fair point.
I could always go with the Subway option. That's a little healthier, right?
Sure.
Or the Amazon card.
Let's see. Yeah, Amazon would probably be a better route. Let's see. Just for the record, the disable confirmation is not available for turbine point purchases. Let's see. Since buying items is much quicker, they've streamlined the number of buttons appearing in the store. They removed the cart functionality. There were some questions about that, but they kind of feel that it's not as fast as you can go, as they're hoping you can go through this stuff. You don't really need the cart. I'm a little...
So you can't stack up, like have your 100 mnemonic pots and your Slayer pots and look at everything that you want to buy and then confirm it?
Yeah, I guess you have to buy it all separately. The thing that I kind of noticed is like sometimes I've put stuff in the cart and then come back to it later.
Right.
I don't know if I've actually done that with the DDO store, but usually for like Amazon has a cart feature, and like I'll add stuff to my cart and look at how much it's gonna cost, and then I'll go to the store, get the gift card, so I get the gas discount, and then come back to that, or I wait until I get enough that I get the free shipping. So there's that. See some questions.
And then they send you an email every day that says, you have things in your cart. Are you going to buy them?
No, actually.
No?
Not to my
I
fair.
guess you don't wait as long as I did.
Let's see some questions they wanted to answer on their nice little fancy FAQ page. Turbine will move your turbine point balance from the old store to the new one. You don't have to take any action. What will happen to your purchase history? They will restore the last 30 days of history to the new store. terms of recent purchases, there's a clock icon that you can view recent purchases. Or you can click the top right drop down to select that.
Do you see how many turbine points John Smith has?
53,000.
I
Yeah.
want that.
It's a nice kitty. Let's see. Will bookmarks be saved? Unfortunately, no. But they want you to think of it as an opportunity to browse the new store. So if you have bookmarks in the old store, you have to get new ones. Can you still preview cosmetic items on your character? Yes. There's now a hanger icon with the item within the item icon that you can click to preview the clothing and armor. It's kind of a nice little feature.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a great one. How do you add more turbine points? You can either click the turbine points tab or the plus next to your wallet balance. Well, you have to re-enter payment information for turbine point purchases. Since it's a new store, you will need to re-enter your payment information for point purchases only. For VIPs, your subscriptions have not changed and no adjustments are needed. If you're living in another country and don't see your preferred payment option, is there a way to see other options? Yes. They show more methods, and you can choose your preferred country from a drop-down screen. See keys and codes can redeem in the store. New free sample codes. All other codes will need to be redeemed at myaccount.turbine.com. They're looking at allowing more stuff to be in the store later. See what happened to the option to filter for character. By default, the store will show all items. They will add the feature to filter your character in a future update. Let's see. Any other stuff in here? I'm kind of cruising through some of these. I'm not reading all of these, so you may want to go look at them yourself. Let's see. Can't find an item that was in the old store. What happened to it? In most cases, they're able to move items from the old store to the new one. There are a small handful of items due to the way they were designed that need to be reworked. They will be working to make them available as soon as possible. Yes, they will continue to do more updates with the store. If you find a bug, please send in a bug report through the help menu in-game. And if you have any issues that require attention from customer service, please visit the support center at support.turbine.com. Any comments on the new store?
I think it looks great.
Fantastic. Some new items in the store. Let's see. We'll start with the Traveler Trunks, which cost just shy of 3,700 turbine points. What do you get in this trunk, you may ask? Well, you get 5 potions that will give you an additional 30% mysterious remnants plus another 1 guaranteed remnant per stack that you find. It stacks with other remnant boosts, which I didn't know that we had other remnant boosts.
Neither.
Each elixir lasts 6 hours and pauses in public spaces and persists through death. So very similar to other stuff. You get 100 astral shards. You get 50 Big B's guiding hands. It's an all-new tool for exploring dungeons with friends. Big B's guiding hands summons a magical pointing finger to indicate the direction and places a marker on the dungeon map. More than one hand may be summoned at the same time and placed anywhere in the dungeon, landscape, or raid. You can use them for a variety of purposes. Each hand is single use and lasts for an hour. Hopefully that's long enough for the hand. It cannot be moved or dismissed. And there will also be a nice tall magical light shaft, which is visible from far away where the hands are.
So it's basically an I was here sign?
Something like that. I went this way.
Yeah.
You get 50 hands. They're unbound, so you can even trade them with your party members. There's a new Traveler's outfit. I'm not sure if they're different colors. I mean, the pictures show.
They are.
The pictures
like
show
5 or
3
6
different colors.
Yeah.
Do you get to? How do you pick them when you buy the trunk?
I
sure.
don't know about that.
Uh,
When I first saw those things, the first thing that came into my mind was, you know how in some games you have that like glittery fairy dust looking trail that points you to wherever you're going, like the path to how to get to where you need to go. And to me, that's a little annoying. I want to find my own way. I don't want dust floating around in there. But after I thought about it, I could see how that might be handy for a few things.
Yeah,
That's funny.
there's definitely some folks that will appreciate using them. I'm not gonna buy this trunk just for those. I'm not actually really planning on buying the trunk anyways. There's not anything either that I'm looking for. But I know the thing that I kind of got out of it, like I'm hoping that the hands and the remnant boosts will be available in other mediums.
Right, me too.
I wouldn't mind playing with the hands, but
That just sounds so fun.
it's not fun to. Yeah, I don't know. Although I do kind of wonder, because my general experience with RPG games is, here's the path that we want you to go on. Great. Let me look in this corner over here. I'm gonna go every direction other than that direction first.
Right.
So, you can see a lot of players doing that too. That's not really the right kind of game. It's not really an open world game, so it probably won't happen. But other stuff that's in there, you can get a traveler's outfit. It's a rare cosmetic outfit from the trunk. I don't know. It looks kind of like it's got red pants and a vest, and
It has patches on the knees.
yeah.
So it's a used outfit.
It looks like it.
Well, how about that? Here, have some used clothes.
See, you also get 2,500 Omni Spell Dust and 1,000 Omni Spell Stones. You also
That's
get
nice.
5 Superior Experience Boost Potions and 5 Greater Slayer Boost Potions. The point value on the box seems to be fairly reasonable at first glance. It's not really anything that I would really use, or at least that I would pay that much to use. So,
Right.
Right.
I agree with that.
Hmm.
but I would like to see the hands available separately in the store, maybe at some point in time. Also, I think it'd be a great reward for the daily dice.
Oh, yeah.
And same with the remnant potions. Certainly an option for daily dice.
That's a
would be
great
nice.
idea.
Hopefully they're listening to my great ideas this week. Got some
Yeah.
good ones going here. See, the new pack is 450
Or a
turbine
monster
points.
manual.
Yeah, there's a new monster manual for 595 turbine points. Let's see the sales for the week. 35% off of Slayer count boost, the Shared Bank, Platinum Vault, Bag Deposit Box, and all of their upgrades, and 35% off of Jewels of Fortune. The freebie for the week is a lasting potion of resist fire plus 10 times. You get 10 of those with the code NOBURN minus the U, NOBRN, 1 per account. See the 160th Chronicle. DDO Wiki Talk is the newest show on DDO Stream. Shoemaker, his first episode, kind of talked about how you can edit the wiki. Flavalandel digs through the screenshot folder and unearths DDO's history for a great widescreen shot. The Guild Hall, the elitist Gimps organization, are a small Orion-based guild that have reached level 85. New players and veterans are invited to relax and enjoy DDO with its international guild. There's members throughout the day and night. The comment for the week: what kind of cookie would your favorite character eat? We'll start with you, ladies.
What kind of cookie?
What kind of cookie? Like chocolate chips, snickerdoodles.
Chocolate chip, I guess.
Yeah, I have no smart, witty answer for that.
Only-
so my characters don't eat cookies because they eat too many hamburgers or Subways, so I can get the cards to get turbine.
Mystery likes chocolate, so it'd have to be chocolate chip.
Given that my main character is a warforged, I'd say he eats small gears instead of cookies. Let's see, we got a shout out for our 398th episode where we discussed playing with children with Confessions of a Geek Mom. Happy to have her on the show last week. DDO Players News had episode 51 with Even Notes. Damsels of DDO headed to Druid's Deep. A great episode. DDO Cocktail Hour had their 98th episode as well. They're getting close to 100. DDO Gamer looked at the Faye Buckler builds. You can check out his posts for some analysis. City wrote about the impact of overconfidence in a new blog post. Enrique found the Pirate Black Sheep. You can check that out as well. Let's see, other fun stuff going on. There was The Escapists looked at a lost Dungeons & Dragons movie that never was, so you can check that out as well. Other community news, Voodoo Spice had his video tanking the Kludjargs from Temple of Deathworm. We always call them boneheads on Kyber. He also had a video about how to do the Deathworm portal maze. Dirty William had a very fantastic 15-20 minute video, like a quick start guide. So takes for new players, takes you through creating a character and just kind of getting started. It's a fantastic little short video, so if you have someone who's thinking about the game or is just starting, it's a great resource to give them as well. It came out last week, but I had a chance to actually watch the Update 28 preview video, so you can put in some notes here. The character copy has had some major technical issues that they're hoping to address, but probably won't be anytime soon. They have heard a desire for a wardrobe for cosmetics, so if you think about like our ingredient bags, something like that or highlighting folders, something like that for cosmetics, which could be kind of fun. They have talked about new guild ship buffs, but they haven't really gone anywhere yet. Pumpkin grenades will be back for the season, at least in the store. The new Night Revels is coming. They did mention the name there. There will be something new challenged like soon, which is probably the Night Revels, but they didn't say that specifically. They are still talking about cannons crafting and what that will look like if they make changes, and part of that will be the shards of potential. It's part of the discussion that they're having.
As in get rid of them?
Maybe. It's part of the discussion. New data centers will probably be early 2016. They're still working towards that. And the Drow in the Monster Manual are coming soon. Blogs. A Master DDO had a blog about dragons, and dragons. 3 different spellings. Tactilicious and Craftilicious had a post on microtransactions and pay to win. He was kind of comparing DDO to other games. He also had a Rangers and Update 28 little short review. Players News had their 51st episode, and they are also having a survey. What pen and paper modules should Draculetta use for his next campaign to try and kill his party? And Samus Grobo had a nice little post about the Fae Buckler as well, kind of in response to Jeff's build, so kind of showing his differences that he's got going on there. DDOCast News, we have our 400th episode is our next episode. It's coming.
Yay!
It will not be a live show, unfortunately, because of what I'm doing. It's just not going to work out very well to try and do that live. So it'll be a recorded show, but look forward to it. It should be a lot of fun. I've got people returning, segments returning, commercials. Hi, Kitty.
Qui-Gon says that cat wants kibbles.
Yeah.
He just wants to be annoying.
Let's see, so there'll be some new stuff, some old stuff will be replayed. Looking forward to it. I've got a lot of the content already in my hands, and it's coming along great. It'll be a really fun show. Lightning Post this week. This survey question comes from Livmo. What are your favorite 3 in-game items? And I think for me, the Epic Stalker Ring is pretty high on the list. Almost all of my melee characters have that. See, other ones that I really like, I think Green Steel, either hit point, spell point combinations probably has to go on that list, even though it's not as high a level anymore. And let's see, other in-game favorite items. I can't remember what my third one was. But I'd probably have to go with something like the Orcish Privateer boots, which is another item that I like to have on a lot of my characters. It's very useful for many different situations. Ladies, what do you have 3 particularly favorite in-game items?
Well, I also like my green steel. I really like my spider silk robe. And I'm kind of fond of my propulsion boots.
It's a good choice. Sahba?
I don't know if I have 3 favorite items. All my characters wear different things.
I guess that's fair. Doesn't necessarily have to be an item that
the
that everyone
spyglass
has.
for all her guys. So.
I do have the spyglass for all my rogues.
See, there you go. That's a good choice. Let's see. So I think we'll wrap up the show here. Thanks, ladies, for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's good to have you. Out from under Lessa's shadow a little bit.
Lessa casts a shadow? What?
you probably wouldn't notice because of how short halflings are. You wouldn't.
Yes,
Everything has
exactly.
So why don't you guys take a moment to plug your show, and where can people find you and creep on you?
Sure. We have a website called damselsofddo.com. And we're going to be playing on Tuesday. We play every other Tuesday on the DDO stream Twitch feed. And so it's this Tuesday, and we're probably going to be doing the new quest, and it's 11 Pacific. And then on Wednesday, the day following, we do a little after action report of what we did on Tuesday. And then Myth and Lessa talk about TV shows that I never heard of or don't watch. And you can find us on email at Lessa, Lessah, at DDOCast.com, Mythery2014 at Gmail, so that's MYTHERY 2014 at gmail.com, and I'm Sahba Jade at gmail.com. Or we're at Lessa, same spelling, Lessah, at Mythery1, MYTHERY1, and at Sahba Jade. And Lessa has a Twitch stream, and I think that's Lessa is
101.
Lessa 101, sorry. And I have one, Sahba Jade. How about you, Myth? Anything to add?
Good job.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks, ladies, for being on the show, and for especially you guys do your own show and put some work in there, and it's very well done, nicely done.
We have a lot of fun.
Thanks.
Often find myself laughing very hard.
We laugh a lot too.
Yeah.
It's good.
Between
good.
Lessa and Myth, how could you not laugh?
It's true. Sometimes I think like half your shows are just you three laughing. Somebody's laughing. In any case, thanks for the folks, particularly in the chat room, listening to the show this week. And thanks to Sahba Jade and Mythery for joining me today. Really appreciate it and take some time to do that. Thanks also to the rest of the cast contributors, particularly those that are stepping up for episode 400. Looking forward to putting that out for you guys to listen to. Thanks to Turbine and Wizards for making DDO happen, and thanks to Cyberus for hosting the podcast. You can hit us up at DDOcast.com for show notes, our calendar, previous shows, swag, and other fun stuff. If you want to be part of the show, or if you have a comment on this episode, you have a question you'd like, or you have like to ask us, topic you'd like to hear us debate for our debates episodes, if you just want to say hi, if you have a favorite goggle that we didn't mention, leave a comment, or you can email us at ddocast@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media at DDOcast and follow us for the latest cast updates. Closing tip for the week comes from Mari McMillian on Arganesson. Use hotkeys Q and E to select and pick up collectibles. A great way to do that. But anything else, really. Until next time, may all your attack rolls be crits, all your chests level appropriate, have fun, and don't forget to listen to the Damsels of DDO this week.
Thanks, Patrick.
Bye, Patrick.